This is the jungle, the cloud forest. There's not a whole lot of rock here to climb. As climbers here, we climb the trees, the strangler figs. They're the most obvious, most inviting thing to climb. That's just what we do here.
The cloud forest is a very special place. Not that many things to do, therefore one of the things that we would do would be go up into the trees. That's kind of like one of the beginnings of our tree climbing. My family moved here when I was really little. I mean, growing up here was like a paradise. We as kids would just run around in the woods. I was a pretty different kid. I had grown up in communal living, out in the woods most of my childhood. And
so I went to school with Izzy and Rafi, and Grace we kind of met later on.
Well, I moved here when I was 15. I've lived here pretty much since then.
She quickly became as close as any of us.
As the years passed, it's such a small group of kids, we all became close together.
Economy of all we've known, worth its weight in the gold, we'll spend in all of our tomorrows.
Rafi and Izzy got their hands on some harnesses and a rope, and they experimented with some systems to get up into the canopy. And then they realized that rock climbing was actually a thing. They did some research into the real systems that people used, and they started to use those systems on the trees, and they could start pushing the limits of physically difficult tree climbing.
What's up, guys? Trees here were always in the back of my mind as like something special. We're here at the tree. Pretty exciting.
What have trees done for us and our relationship as a friend group to the forest? It changed it so much for the better.
I'm looking at you in the eyes right now, Rafi. Good luck.
So it's like traditional climbing on rock, but it's on tree.
The process of climbing a tree is you start at the ground with two people. You have a rope, you have some carabiners, you have some slings.
You tie in the same deal as in rock climbing. We use nylon slings to wrap features in the trees. You can then clip like a normal lead climb like you would in sport rock climbing. But you extend your quick draws or your hardware away from the tree. That way the rope doesn't rub up on the tree, nor does the metal carabiner rub up on the pretty sensitive tree bark. These trees have crazy formations, and because of the way that the fig trees, which is the ones that we climb, the way that they grew, they create these very interesting shapes that sometimes are like good holes, sometimes they're like jugs, sometimes they're pockets. Sometimes there's cracks that you can jam your hands and your fingers in it the way you can jam in rock. Climbing barefoot lets us feel the textures that are on the tree. We don't use shoes, we don't use chalk. So that allows our toes to be able to be in direct contact with the tree. So sometimes, if you've seen, sometimes we crimp with our toes. You got this, man. Come on, where's the hold? If I close my eyes and I try to think the way that my hands and my feet feel as I climb, it feels very natural. It feels like the way it has felt for millennia and for thousands of years of evolution. Like there's reason we have these, it's because we've been climbing trees for a long time.
So pumped.
Monteverde has a strong ethos of giving back. This is a community of scientists, environmentalists, and people who love the forest and want to protect this place. So from the very beginning, Izzy, Rafi, and Grace knew that they wanted to somehow make this into something that actually had a little bit of an impact, had a little bit of a positive return on the community. They formed a nonprofit called Palo Vivo, where they use tree climbing as a vessel to teach local kids about the forest.
¿Cómo están, chicos? Bien, feliz jueves.
And right now we are working with 2 different schools here in the Monteverde area, and we teach all their students every week tree climbing, and we bring them out to different trees on their school's campuses. At the end of the dry season, we put together a reforestation project and invite all of the members of our climbing community and the different people we've worked with over the year to plant trees.
Una palabra de cómo sentimos hoy.
Divertido. Divertido. Vos say brave. Wow, that's a good one, Halili.
Our main goals are to get kids tree climbing and to plant more trees with those climbers.
Part of the idea with why we're sharing tree climbing with so many kids here in the area is to help inspire courage, but also awareness in how they can relate to the forest, the natural worlds. I think what excites me the most is to see where these relationships will take these students.
There's a huge ripple effect in what we're doing. So it's not just about the impact of the climbing we're doing on this tree in this moment, but it's the memory of that experience that these kids are going to carry with them their entire lives, and how that memory and that experience is going to influence the decisions they make.
So our next step is to be able to make it sustainable so that those 250 kids that we're teaching now are able to maintain those courses and to make it accessible for others. We're only working with the private schools here in Monteverde. So a dream of mine is to be able to work with the public schools too, because honestly, the public schools kind of are some of the kids that need it the most, you know? It was amazing. I had to spend it with my friends, climbing trees.
Dale, otra vez, jálese, jálese, jálese. Jálese duro.
We can only go so far with the love that we have and with the spare time that we have.
Y se me cayó el zapato.
But for it to be able to be a successful organization, we need help.
There's so much that can be learned from trees, I think. So anyone can begin exploring that relationship with trees anywhere they are, anywhere that trees are.
Our main goal is to be able to make tree climbing accessible for our community and eventually for a bigger percentage of people.
Our local communities, youth as a collective, have a relationship with the forest and with the trees.
The best approach to climbing trees is to almost see it as a dance. If that tree wasn't there, if that branch wasn't there to hold me, then I fall. That's pretty much what we're doing as a species. We're not holding on to that is holding on to us.
So I just got up here to the top of the tree, and it seems like there's a troop of white-faced monkeys coming through, which this is the first time this has ever happened to me, so this is kind of exciting because, yeah, I mean, we're like monkeys and we're climbing trees, and then, oh my God, all right,